The Haunting of Room 1146. It was January 2nd, 1935, when Roland checked into the hotel president, a mysterious man with no luggage or belongings, save for a comb and toothpaste tucked into his coat pocket. His appearance alone raised eyebrows among the staff. There was a jagged wound on the left side of his head where hair refused to grow, and his shriveled ear seemed almost unnatural, like it belonged to someone or something else entirely. When the bellboy escorted him to room 1146, via the elevator, Roland didn't speak much. As they entered the room, he placed his meager possessions on the table and instructed the bellboy to leave the door ajar. "My friend Don will be joining me soon," he said cryptically, staring past the boy as if looking at someone standing just out of sight. Later that evening, Mary, one of the cleaning staff, arrived to tidy up the room. She found all the lights off except for the small lamp on the desk. Sitting motionless in the corner of the room was Roland himself, staring blankly ahead as though lost in thought. Though unnerved by his peculiar demeanor, Mary finished her work and left without incident. But the next day things grew stranger still. Returning with fresh towels, Mary discovered Roland lying on the bed, scratching furiously at the ceiling. On the bedside table lay a note scrawled hastily, "Don, I'm stepping out. Back in 15 minutes. Wait for me." Mary tried not to dwell on it too much. After all, guests often had their quirks. But deep down she couldn't shake the feeling that something about Roland, and perhaps even room 1146 itself, wasn't quite right. January 3rd, the locked door. The following morning, Mary returned once more to clean. To her surprise, the door to room 1146 was locked from the outside, an unusual occurrence for a guest room. After several minutes of persistent knocking, she finally retrieved her master key and entered. Inside, Roland sat silently facing the wall as if engaged in some private conversation. Ignoring her presence completely, he remained frozen in place until the phone rang suddenly, breaking the oppressive silence. Picking up the receiver, Roland spoke softly, "Don, I'm not hungry. I've already eaten." Mary froze mid-motion, gripping her mop tightly. Who was Don, and why did Roland address the caller as though speaking to someone sitting right beside him? Her unease only deepened when Roland resumed staring at the wall afterward, oblivious to everything around him. She fled the room as quickly as possible, trying to convince herself it was nothing more than eccentric behavior. Yet later that afternoon, while delivering fresh towels again, Mary encountered another shock. This time when she knocked, a different voice answered from within. One far harsher and angrier than Roland's. "Go away," it snapped. Confused and frightened, Mary obeyed, retreating down the hallway. Who could possibly be inside room? The technician's discovery. By January 4th, reports began pouring in that the telephone in room 126 had stopped working. The hotel dispatched a technician to investigate. When he arrived, Roland opened the door groggily, appearing disoriented and barely coherent. Once inside, the tech fixed the issue and departed, thinking little of the encounter. 2 hours later, however, the phone went dead again. Reluctantly, the same technician returned, finding the device switched off externally. Frowning, he knocked repeatedly, calling out Roland's name. Eventually, a faint response drifted through the woodwork. "Just go." Something about the tone chilled him to the bone. Summoning the manager, they unlocked the door together using the master key, and what they saw inside would haunt them forever. Roland lay sprawled across the floor, a telephone cord wrapped tightly around his neck. 5 blood-stained daggers protruded from his chest, and crimson streaks marred the walls like grotesque artwork. Despite the gruesome scene, Roland was still alive, if only barely. Paramedics rushed him to the hospital, leaving investigators to piece together the horrifying puzzle. Unanswered questions. Doctors questioned Roland about his attacker, but his answers were disjointed and nonsensical. Muttering weakly about falling, he slipped into unconsciousness shortly thereafter. Meanwhile, police combed through room 1146, searching for clues. They uncovered none, no fingerprints, no signs of forced entry, and most disturbingly, no trace of Roland's clothing or personal effects. Then came the call from Ruby Ogletree, claiming Roland wasn't who he claimed to be. According to her, his real name was Artemis Ogletree, a runaway from Birmingham who'd vanished years ago. Stranger still, she revealed that a mysterious caller had contacted her recently, claiming Artemis had married a wealthy woman in Egypt. Despite these revelations, the case remained unsolved. Who or what was done? Why had Artemis been targeted so brutally? And how had his killer managed to vanish without a trace? A lingering mystery. Months passed. Room 1146 stood vacant, shrouded in whispers of tragedy. Guests complained of hearing phantom phone calls late at night, followed by muffled screams echoing down the hall. Some swore they saw a figure pacing back and forth inside the room, illuminated only by the glow of a dying light bulb. To this day, the identity of Dawn remains unknown, and the truth behind Roland or Artemis Ogletree's death continues to elude investigators. Was it a crime of passion, a ghostly vendetta, or something far darker lurking within the walls of Room 1146?